Oh, thank you, Jackie.
All right. I'll call this meeting to order on June 26th at 6:01 p.m. for the Oak Ridge City Council special session. Our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. If we can all stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. The next item is roll call. Jackie, can you take that?
Counselor Coker,
She is excused tonight.
okay. Counselor Bjornson,
Also excused tonight.
Counselor Charman,
Here.
Counselor Brewer,
Here.
Mayor Cutchin,
He is excused tonight.
Counselor Kenyon,
Here.
Counselor Hollett,
Here.
Okay, thank you, Jackie. Do any counselors have additions, corrections, or adjustments to the agenda? Hearing none, James, do you have anything?
No, I will mention a couple of things during business proceedings.
Thanks. Okay, so next we are going to go into public comment. Is there anyone in the room that wants to make public comment? How about online? Do we have anyone online that would like to do public comment? If so, unmute your microphone and state your name and the city you live in. Hearing none, we will move to the next item, which is mayor comments, announcements, and proclamations. James, I didn't see any messages from the mayor. Do you know if he had anything he wanted?
No, he did not.
Okay. So the next item is council comments or announcements. Do any councilors have anything? Again, hearing none, we'll move right into the business from the city council. And the first item on the agenda is 8.1 fiscal year 22-23 audit report from Auditor Teresa Hanford. James, do you want to introduce her?
Sure. All right, so we do have our auditor, Teresa Hanford, online today. Great to be here to answer any questions councilors may have about the 22-23 audit. She actually just emailed out the final version of the audit. She can confirm this when she started talking about it, but no substantive changes have been made, just some formatting changes, and then we've added my responses from the city to the two issues identified on page 43 and 44, I think, the draft audit, which was sent out to council. So I will be sending out the final version later tonight. But again, no substantive changes. But the only thing important to note is this is when the 30-day clock starts, but we need to submit our corrective action letter to the Secretary of State regarding those two issues. I've already started drafting that, and I will present it to council at the July 18th meeting. We will approve.
Thank you.
And I'll turn it over to Teresa to answer any questions that's my head.
Hello.
Hi,
Uh,
Teresa.
Hi. Sorry I didn't get this out till today. I had a potential misappropriation come up with one of my other clients and we had to kind of secure documents and all that kind of stuff. Which thank God it's not you guys. But This year, I just want to say good job to the city. Your fund balances are very much healthier than they were last year. You're about $2 million in your general fund. So, sorry, I've got a dog I might need to put in the bedroom. But overall, I feel like the city is doing way better this year than they were last year. And the findings are more of a formality because some of the data from last year didn't get put in correctly and transferred to the new system, but that's already being rectified, is my understanding. And the responses that James provided for the audit report were very acceptable. The state will see it and they'll say that the city is being proactive in fixing the problem and not just reacting as far as, oh, we're gonna deal with it, you know, a year down the road or whatever. So, and that can actually be part of the corrective action plan too, is some of the stuff you've already put in place. As an auditor, I'm very comfortable with it. And I don't know, I just, I don't have concerns at all with anything you guys are doing right now and the choices you're making and all that. So, I guess I'm kind of all over the place because I've already talked to you guys a few times about some of this stuff. But if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. Like I said, I'm really comfortable with where the city's at financially. I'm comfortable with the changes that are being put in place. And I'd say just good job, everyone. Keep going.
Thank you. Counselors, I'm going to open the floor to you all. Just feel free to unmute yourselves and go ahead and ask her any questions that you might have directly. And or live. So I'm not seeing any questions. I want to go ahead and mention, Teresa, I'm really glad to know that we do have a better beginning fund balance in our general fund than we have had in years past. However, I'm pretty sure that at least 1.5 million of that is that WAC grant funding. Is that right?
Yeah, a lot of that is that WAC grant funding. I think like 1.45 million or something like that is left of that.
Yeah.
But I know you're gonna use that for other purposes, but I do know I've already read your minutes through when I was there last month or a few weeks ago, whenever I was there. And I know you've sold some properties and have some, and I've already looked at some of your other, your bank statements and things like that. And from what I could tell, your fund balance was still growing in the general fund. And so that's a positive thing because this is basically a look back to a year ago.
Yeah, or to 21, 22, which was the previous audit, right? Because this is 22, 23.
Right. Yeah, the last audit, we were very, very concerned about your fund balance. When Rebecca was doing the audit, she was pointing out a bunch of stuff to me, which is part of the reason I wanted to do the audit this year, is I wanted to take a closer look at some of those items. Just because we saw some potentially negative fund balances and things that were kind of going the wrong direction. And the city has been very proactive in fixing those problems. And like, this is actually, you guys have done a great job. I've had some other cities that have been in similar positions when I've taken over their audit, and it's taken them a lot longer to get in a more positive space. So I would just say good job to James and everybody else who's been watching that and keeping up with the budget and everything.
Yes. Thank you. I see Counselor Hollett has her hand raised. Go ahead, Counselor.
Thank you for that report. I unfortunately was not able to take a look at your email today. So if I'm asking a question that's already been addressed in that email, I apologize. It's great to hear that our beginning fund balance sounds better than anticipated. So I'm curious where that left our emergency fund balance and also how that left our general fund. And I just think it would be good to talk about it a little bit for public transparency.
So the general fund is almost $2 million, which we just talked about 1.45 million of that belongs to that WAC grant. And are you talking about the emergency services fund or is there another emergency fund?
I'm talking about the emergency services.
Okay, the emergency services fund, I'm just trying to find the page it's on. It's on page 35 of the final report. The ending fund balance is just under $100,000. It's $99,084.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's also looking positive, so.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
One last thing I'd like to, point out is that, the audit committee, which I'm on, we met, what, 3 or 4 days ago with you, Teresa? And we, or she actually offered to get started as soon as possible on the next audit that needs to be done, which is the fiscal year 22-23.
No.
That's 23,
Sorry. 23-24, you're right, which is the year that just ended or will end in a couple of days, which will be fantastic because that 900,000, or actually it was 1 million and something that she discovered in some beginning fund balance errors from prior years is going to roll forward in the 23-24, and then we will have the ability, as soon as that audit's complete, to actually know exactly where we are with beginning fund balances for the year that starts on July 1st, which will be literally the first time in probably 10 years that we've had that accurate information that up to date.
I think we will shock the Secretary of State when we turn in our audit early.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, that'll be nice.
Right, and I mean, my clients, like I was telling you on Monday when we had that meeting, my clients are already, my other clients are already aware that you are the priority. Just because my concern is, I don't know how the bank statements were getting reconciled by the person who left and how cash was still working out. And so the sooner we can get your audit done and know where your numbers really are compared to the bank statement, will give you more accurate information to make decisions moving forward.
Yes.
And yes, it'll be good to have everything into the state and be caught up and be like, yay. So, for sure.
Yes, I'm definitely looking forward to that. I think that's all. Does any other counselors have any other questions? Well, Teresa, I really appreciate the work that you've done for us on this, and I'm really looking forward to getting on that next one as quickly as we can. And I'm sure that James and or our what is she called? Our temporary finance director?
Pro Tem.
Pro temp.
Susan.
Yeah, Melody.
Yes.
You'll be hearing from them soon.
Okay, yeah, I'll get your audit report. I was supposed to have it submitted yesterday, and like I said, I just got kind of taken off on something else, but I have given you guys the final audit report and we'll get it submitted either tonight or first thing in the morning. And the 30-day clock starts as of today because I went ahead and dated everything today. So you have 30 days to get the corrective action plan into the state. James, you can reach out to me if you need any help with anything or just an email to send it to you. I can give that to you. So thank you again. Everybody was great to work with. I really appreciated you guys. Like, this was not an easy audit as far as just the concerns we had last year, and everybody made everything way easier than I anticipated. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Right. Actually, that just reminded me of one other thing I wanted to see. Could you just refresh for public transparency what the 2 items were that we did get? I don't remember if it's material weakness or significant.
So there's a finding that I give pretty much almost every entity that I do their audit and prepare their financial statements. In any other state other than Oregon, the auditors are generally not allowed to prepare the financial statements because it's a conflict of interest because you're auditing your own work. But in Oregon, there's a state law that overrides our standards that requires us to help you prepare the financial statements. So it's kind of a CYA for the auditor to give a finding if they've prepared this financial statements, because it's possible we don't know something that happened during the year and it didn't get in the report. And so that's the significant deficiency.
Right,
And you're gonna probably get that every year. You probably have gotten it in the past. But
yeah,
it's more expensive to, at least from what I've heard, it's a lot more expensive to hire a separate firm to prepare your financials and make sure they meet standards. But it's completely up to the city what they want to do. I'm not gonna argue with you. Either way is fine. The state's used to it. They don't care, at least as far as I can tell from trainings and stuff. The other issue was a material weakness, which hopefully we will not have in the future. And it's basically because the $1 million in fund balances didn't get into the software system. And when you were preparing the budget as a city council, you did not know that you had that money available, and that's material. And so material, meaning it was like 25% of your cash. And so that's the reason we reported it is the city needs to be doing reconciliations and know where their cash is at and things like that. But it's not uncommon when you have turnover to have issues like this pop up. So, and when you're changing accounting systems, and you had a lot going on. So,
right.
so that's the big issue this year is that.
And I do have some information on those reconciliations. Dr. Leah Brewer was doing the reconciliations. And as you recall, when she started doing them over a year ago, we were behind by over a year,
18 months.
18 months.
Mhm.
We are now caught up through March of this year. But that's when March is when we transferred over to Cassell. And she didn't know how to do it on Cassell, so she had training with Cassell yesterday. And they are almost done with the April reconciliation, and then she should be able to catch us up, and we should be up to date very shortly. So that's positive news as well.
Excellent.
And just to give you feedback on that, the state's gonna see that in the response that was in the report, and whatever you put in your corrective action, if that's part of it, they're gonna find that acceptable, is my guess. I find it very comforting as an auditor, so I'd say good job.
Just for curiosity, when is the reconciliations normally something that happened? Like, I know month ends on the last day of the month, but is it like before the next last day of the month, or right shortly after, or?
I don't know what the gold standard is. Maybe Teresa knows how. Are reconciliations commonly done every month? So, or do some cities do them, then do they wait 3 months and then do 3 months at a time? How does that work?
Ideally, we like to see them done every month, within, before the next statement comes, but, we're not gonna write you up if it's 3 months or, because stuff happens, you have busy seasons, stuff like that. It's just, if there's any errors or mistakes, it's a lot easier to catch it and deal with it, within a month rather than 3 or 4 months and not know what happened or not remember. But, so the gold standard is ASAP, but it's not set in stone. I've seen all kinds of things, and it doesn't mean that they're negligent or doing something wrong. So,
Right. I was just kind of curious whether or not we could add something, if the council agrees, maybe to our monthly financial report, just a little statement as to whether or not the reconciliations for the prior month have been done yet or not.
I'm happy to do that.
Does the council have consensus on that? Would you agree? Online?
Yes, I would.
Okay, we got thumbs up. I don't know who else is online, no.
I can't imagine anyone not wanting to do that, so I'll consider that a consensus and it shall be so.
Thank you, James. Really appreciate that. And thanks again, Teresa, especially for making more time again for tonight to come and talk to us. I appreciate that.
No problem. That's what my job is to help you guys do your job. So I appreciate it. And thank you for having me. So,
Uh-huh.
have a great night, unless you need me to stay on.
I don't think you need to stay on.
Okay, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, James. So our next item on the agenda is the After Heidi Scenic Bikeway application update from Connor Nolan. And is this something that we are screen sharing?
I'm about to, because
Okay.
I was thinking through that, that would have been a disaster, if I just spoke through it without, sharing the actual. So, should be seeing this live. There,
Someone from council, can you confirm? Can you see that screen? I can
Yes,
see
we
it.
could see.
awesome. Thank you, everyone. I just want to move a couple of these things, so it's not too busy. Want to get going. So, okay, perfect. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you real quick. James, do you want to introduce the agenda, Bill? Is there any?
Just to remind the council that, in December, council authorized a letter of support, for what Connor is doing, spearheading, trying to get Dr. Heidi designated a scenic bikeway, and then he's here to, give us an update and, answer any questions and take public input. So I would ask that I would ask council to suspend the rules and allow for public comment during or after the presentation.
It's
I'll make a
agreeable.
motion that we extend the rules and allow public comment during this presentation.
I'll second that. If there's anyone against it. Oh, actually, discussion. So I see no hands. It looks like everybody's in favor of moving forward. So with no nays, why don't we get right into it? And so public, feel free to speak up online and in the room as needed.
And I'll do my best to try to be as comprehensive through my presentation too, so. But yeah, happy to field questions as they come up during. But yeah, absolutely, okay, so. Good here, screen share and everything, well, yes, everyone, thanks for having me, and for the introduction. James, yeah, my name is Connor Nolan, I'm the Destination Development Manager at Travel Lane County, also known as Eugene Cascades and Coast, which is the county's destination tourism marketing organization. And I'm also the lead proponent and for the After Heidi Drive Scenic Bikeway designation. So to kick it off, a little context on the program itself. So back in 2009, these relevant state and nonprofit agencies came together. County of Oregon representing the state tourism marketing agency that provides information and resources to potential tourists throughout both the nation and internationally. Oregon State Parks, the statewide land stewardship organization that's dedicated to providing outstanding natural and scenic and cultural recreation sites to both visitors and residents, and then Cycle Oregon, which is a cycling advocacy group that is trying to promote and really expand cycling throughout the region, came together to form the Oregon Scenic Bikeway Program, which is a collection of scenic cycling routes throughout the state at various locations, predominantly rural or our very gorgeous natural landscapes here in Oregon. And with that, the premise behind why really this program started was from some economic impact research done 5 years after the launch of this program. It was found that the kind of hardcore cycling enthusiast tourist tends to spend a lot of money when it comes to traveling to experience these type of routes. So these organizations want to come together really to highlight the best of the best for this cycling audience and ultimately spark visitor expenditure in these communities where the bikeways exist. So what has been our involvement, speaking kind of on behalf of East Lane County, Oak Ridge, Westford, and the McKenzie River thus far? As some of you might recall, there have been some previous attempts to get the Oxford Highway designated in the past. When the program began, the Willamette Valley Scenic Bikeway was the first one launched in 2009. And then there were two more that happened 2 years after. And there's been some attempts, mostly outside kind of the control of the proponent group. 2020, that one, of course, due to COVID, the pandemic. But really what's significant here is we're attempting to get it designated on the third go about. There's actually not been a designation of a scenic bikeway since 2017. So it would be really notable to have the Opera Heights as the first ones over that 8-year gap. And it's gonna be a little hard to read, but I promise I'll walk us through it. But basically, this is kind of a workflow, the designation process structured by Oregon State Parks, because they are the powers that be that kind of approve or deny oncoming applications for the program. So the first portion is establishing this proponent group, which Darren here in the audience, and we have Tracy, Michelle, and Kevin here in the Oak Ridge Westford area that are part of. Think of it kind of as a project team to really launch this designation of this bikeway. Initially, we had to collect letters of support, so thanks to you all here in this room and many of the local organizations that offered letters of support back in winter. Towards the designation. We also got a letter of concurrence from the Willamette National Forest, and the key difference there is that the letter of concurrence is basically a letter of support, but there's a couple of contingencies that our proponent group have to fulfill in order for them to get a full letter of support towards the designation. So for the Willamette National Forest Service perspective, they've invested heavily into the maintenance and improvement of the Opera Heights route. But they do are concerned about rider safety and want to ensure that our job is to ensure that anyone that comes and experiences the route is well informed about the safety precautions that may exist. And then also we're working to invest more in the improvement of the route itself, which I'll dig into more. As you saw in your packet, at the next stage, we filled out the bikeway application back in February. And then part of that also, there's need to do kind of a ride assessment from Cycle Oregon just to kind of get a sense, kind of like a vibe of how good the route is. And picture here is the previous program coordinator with Cycle Oregon, where we did a site visit and he loved the route. So that was big thumbs up there. And the next stage here is really just having these public presentations and drafting the bikeway plan in order to kind of fulfill the community engagement and public outreach portion of this so that the communities are well aware of what's going on and they feel that they have investment in the scenic bikeway itself. So here's just a list of the upcoming presentations So then what's next in this process? The main chunk here is really just addressing some of the safety concerns that the Forest Service has laid out Again, kind of hard to read, but this portion would be part of the scenic bikeway plan, in which this section really talks about, hey, if there are potholes, acknowledge them, inform riders, within our marketing and communication that potholes may exist, or that road conditions may be slippery, or things like that. So this is really just a list of those various kind of items that we'll want to address both within our marketing communication and as we look to improve the bikeway infrastructure as a group. And then lastly, it's just really finalizing the bikeway plan that I'll highlight here momentarily. And this is really like the last main document that is required to be reviewed by Oregon Parks and Recreation to really ensure that they approve or the bikeway once it hits the commission's agenda. So what are the kind of main goals we're outlining in this plan? And the main four are really, of course, marketing, providing business services to the outfitters here in the community, really honing in on safety communication to appease the Forest Service concern and just informing riders. And then also linking that to wayfinding infrastructure improvement on the route. So our first marketing communication goal is really to drive web traffic to Travelland County, developing new road cycling content, including storytelling, interactive maps, and really just like honing in on the messaging to kind of cater to this specific riding audience. So this is a current viewpoint on our website's navigation. What you see if you stumble upon using Cascades and Coast or Travelland County's website, you'll see that when it comes to cycling content, we have it kind of listed within outdoor recreation and adventures, and then from cycling, we have mountain biking separate from cycling, and then within cycling, we list the existing scenic bikeways along with some information on just like where to rent, where to shop, if you're a cyclist. And what we would like to do ideally, and this is just kind of an overview of that navigation, is we want to kind of dissect cycling further into the various categories that a lot of these user groups are searching when online. So instead of just having cycling and having everything kind of bashed in there, and then mountain biking, we don't want to subdivide it by road, gravel, and BMX, kind of match those user groups. And then within road, we'll also add an additional off-road scenic bikeway, like dedicated landing page kind of within that subsection among the other content that we're producing. So here's just a quick snapshot of our current cycling page. So, and this is very much the format we follow on our website. We have kind of a little bit of local highlights. These are the various sub pages that are linked on this site. We go into kind of various events that are happening as it relates to cycling, like we have the Sasquatch Bureau, for example, listed here. And just basically on our website is more content. Like this is leading to that previous aforementioned rental page. Here's a list of blogs, kind of really highlighting more and more content for web visitors and potential tourists to kind of really inform themselves about what to do about this topic in our area. And then also here's a quick snapshot of what the Covered Bridges Scenic Bikeway page is. So this is where we also have a map and speak more to kind of the content, some of the videography, photos, and then also the things to do in that area. So in this instance, around Cottage Grove. And so one of the first main things we're gonna do to upgrade the website is adding these internet maps. And my GPS, you can kind of treat it like Google Maps, but it's very much just like the app that the kind of hardcore cycling enthusiast user group uses to really help themselves wayfind and get cued on when to turn on a particular route and record their routes and share it with friends, very much like kind of some social media apps that you may have seen before. So for example, we're going to take, and this is the Route GPS route embedded in for the Outdoor Heidi. And we're going to basically kind of replace it. This is just a Covered Bridges Scenic Bikeway page. We'll make it a dedicated Outdoor Heidi, but kind of supplement our previous map with this new one that's fully interactive. So riders can kind of utilize it on our website and also on their Rapid GPS app themselves to really kind of help them kind of plan their trip to Oak Ridge and Westford to ride the Opera Honey from our website. And then additionally, kind of some of the suggested adjustments to like our cycling page, like we'll have this new landing page for the Opera Heidi with that content. And then we're gonna be kind of developing blogs and information around safety information to really like integrate that with all our web content. So we're constantly informing visitors that like, hey, this is what you need to do to travel safely. Here's what you need to be aware of. So we're again kind of hitting that concern from the Forest Service so we can garner their full support. And there's definitely other additional like content updates and things we'll add to the website, but those are just like a quick snapshot too. Travel Oregon is also actively developing the new logo for the Opera Heidi. Unfortunately, for this presentation, I only have the placeholder available. But ultimately, our proponent group kind of offered some photos that that mirror the Opera Heidi route, some of those scenic viewpoints that are going to guide Travel Oregon's creative team's process to design a little kind of graphic here, which would be the main logo for the Opera Heidi Scenic Bikeway moving forward, which hopefully will be done here in the next couple of weeks that I can share with the group. And also lastly, I kind of wanted to reiterate, as you might recall, the Green Waters Park Explore Oak Ridge Westford sign that we did
Yeah.
a couple months back. So the QR code, oh, there we go. The QR code, so that links directly to the Explore page of Oak Ridge Westford. But this is also where we want the opportunity to reroute the Opera Heidi content onto the Explore page. So when we're having people and we're talking about Explore Oak Ridge, the Opera Heidi is one of the highlights of that content too. So we're trying to, figure out how to connect the dots between all this new content we're developing and rerouting it throughout our website layout. So goal number 2 is business outreach and services. So really, we just want to offer promotional material about the Opera Heidi and also free membership to the various local bike shops, outfitters, tour guides, and any tourist facing business here in Oak Ridge Westford and the Kentucky area. So with that, when it comes to like a quick overview of our just membership services, really, when it comes to local business here, we want them to join as members because that gives us the ability once they sign up to add their business information and embed it on our website as a listing. And that's where we're able to really highlight particular points of interest or outfitters, Cog Wild, whomever, right, in the local area, into that cycling content or Opera Heidi content that we'll speak of. So like an example of that here, this is just a quick snapshot of like our cycling page. Here underlined 2 of our active members right now, Cog Wild and Cascade Outdoor Center. We're able to take their business information as a member and plug it into the website so we can kind of lead potential visitors to these businesses if they're looking for information on like transportation, for example.
Would hotels and motels count in there as tourism related?
It will be great timing because ultimately on that, I'll answer your question on this slide. We want to reroute those new members into the existing Oak Ridge content too. So really depending on the type of business they are, like if they are a tour guide, they'll probably be right smack dab in that cycling content if they are like offering guides to cyclists or visitors. If they're a hotel, we'll probably put them lower, be like in a subsection that's like, here are also places to stay. Or if we wanted to talk about that in our Oak Ridge page, like here are places to stay. So it's really dependent on the business, but we'll find the right place and the right home for them on our website if they sign. So yeah. Does that help answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay. So third quick goal, infrastructure improvement. The main one we're working on is installing informative panels at the route starting point and adjacent kiosks up in the McKenzie areas that will help inspire riders and really kind of make a focal point for riders to come to when they're visiting so they can plan their route. So this is a quick mock-up of one of the kiosks going on the McKenzie Riverside. So this here, this panel and our creative team is actively working on it, so we don't have a mock-up just yet, but ultimately, similar to like the website content, we're gonna have a map of the route, here particular viewpoints or things to check out, like Twiller Hot Springs or the reservoir on your ride, and then we'll also list safety information, other tidbits of information here on this panel. And then this content here, this is what we've been talking about for our proponents on the McKenzie side, but offering additional information about events like flyers happening in the region. Here, this Explore McKenzie River would pretty much be a carbon copy of the billboard that's at Green Waters Park, but we can similarly do and explore Westford Oak Ridge at the location of where the panel is going to go at Coral Park. So we're working with the city of Westford, and we got approval to use this empty space for that opera panel and some of the relevant information for the route, because this kiosk will pretty much be the starting point listed on Lively GPS and all the mapping tools as well. So we're really just trying to make this a central point for people to kind of come to, get informed, know things to do in person, and then experience a good route. Then lastly on that, kind of similarly, like this is roughly Coral Park right here. We'll be working with Cycle Oregon to map out the various locations for these scenic bikeway wayfinding signs and all the kind of directional signs required to kind of guide riders to the route. Luckily, the NF19 is a pretty easy route to navigate because it's one straight shot, so we don't need too many wayfinding signs, but just a couple at the starting point to really kind of just solidify this area as the scenic bikeway hub. And we'll be doing the same up on the McKenzie side as well. And then very last goal for today, our big one is to organize a press event at the kickoff of the 2025 cycling season to really officially celebrate the Opry as the designated bikeway and inviting representatives, media, important people, people we like, friends, family, to really just celebrate this moment. And we wanted to kind of set that for 2025 ride season, because basically as we finalize doing these public meetings, hosting this webinar on the 29th, providing the Parks and Recreation Commission the final packet and plan for them to review on the 18th. If we get approved, awesome, but it's a little late in the season to market the opera hiatus, so we're gonna plan it all during that winter hiatus, and then hopefully kind of come out with a bang to start things off. And that is it. So thanks everyone, and happy to answer any other questions.
Go ahead.
I had a question. So you mentioned the Forest Service. Among the things they would like to see are some infrastructure improvements. I noticed that they mentioned they spent $8 million in 2016 maintaining and improving the road. And, I do notice that it's closed quite often from landslides, at least it was in the past few years. So I'm wondering, have they been specific on what infrastructure projects they want? And is it's not gonna be something crazy like, well, we wanna you build a $10 million bridge or something.
They could have said that. I don't have $10 million in my pocket. I wish, but yes, no, it's a great question. So they actually released a public notice earlier this month that they were repaving the NF19 and covering potholes over the past the last couple of weeks. Which I need to go and probably just check to see how things are. But to my knowledge, based off of that infrastructure, they now have the route 100% paved, and then hopefully all the potholes or areas concerned patched up. I believe for the infrastructure improvements, a lot of it more just leans into the signage and wayfinding. So the one thing I didn't really talk about in this presentation is I know that they want signs like active congestion or like watch out for riders at some of those specific points like the Twiller or Hot Springs where we know people are going to veer off road to go experience that. I think that those like high congestion areas, they want some of those safety signs on Forest Service Road. And potentially they'll probably want us to kind of actively pursue maybe some grant funding or just funding mechanisms to kind of help them with any maintenance needs. But the rest of it is, as I understand it, just like helping people with the communication, just constant communication about safety concerns, hazards, things like that through all our web content. And then also including the information panels that we'll see. So, to that, yeah, answer. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Economic impacts. I mean, I know that we're the mountain bike capital of the Northwest, and I know, my good friend Christy here is one of the drivers for Trans Cascadia, and they're having trouble finding enough drivers to get people out there right now. It's booming.
Mhm.
This is gonna add, road bikes
Mhm.
potentially, and I'm just wondering if there's been any economic studies done on maybe some of the other scenic bikeways to see, what kind of increase we could expect. I mean, obviously, it's gonna be positive, basically, they're gonna be doing that, whatever, but are there any figures or estimates we can think of?
Are you referring to kind of the just volume of visitors, like in terms of estimates on like the increase of more people coming through, or kind of the money spent?
Either one, I just, I'm very amateur biker myself. I'm not really in the scene, and I just like, is this gonna? I'm curious if with other scenic bikeways were designated, did they see like, double the amount of people using it? Or triple, or
It's gonna be a lot.
you think?
It's gonna be a lot. We already have people writing on it.
No, yeah.
So it's going to be a big deal.
I think the one, and the data used and the one major economic impact report that was produced was in 2014, and I feel like it's interesting, and your perspective is probably better than mine on like kind of the ebb and flow of just popularity that road cycling has had. And I think when the program was formed in 2009, it was really peaking in 2014 that warranted that report. And then that's where they found that number previously, where it was roughly like $690 on average per overnight stay from someone visiting for the scenic bikeway. And I think the most recent bit of data we have on average spend during the county from a visitor is more around 300 from I think 2022. So the data is a little, it's not the same year, so I'm just kind of juxtaposing data that's like not 100% correct, but it's almost 3 times multiplier. So I think that type of user group definitely spends more on average than like your average family. But the one tricky thing is there hasn't been new information provided since that 2014 report. I've been trying to kind of extrapolate the data we recently got like that from 2022 and what people are spending now, but so it's hard to give like a definitive, like this is the multiplier effect, or this is how many people are gonna come. But I know that user group hasn't necessarily been like, right? And hopefully with this destination too, it might spark motivation to get those type of studies. But yeah, so.
So I was curious about, first I want to clarify earlier when you talked about being able to advertise on your website for all the different tourism related facilities that we might have. You did say that would be at no cost to the facility, right?
So this coincides with a change we've done with our membership program over the past year, where years ago it was pay to be a member, and we provided this free option to really allow just any business that kind of fits that tourism centric user base to be on our website. We didn't want to kind of stick arm off our website if they were applicable to talk about, right? And this is, yes, so that free option is completely available to anyone today. And ultimately, my role in this was I wanted to kind of go, in a sense, like door to door and seek out the organizations that we really think would be valuable to speak about in our cycling-based content in the Oak Ridge area and the Mackenzie River area, like on our site. But in order to have that listing, we do need data about or information about the business, which is where we need them to be members and fill out the form so we have access to like their location, their store hours, those type of things, right? But yes, it is free for business.
So then my next question was gonna be, and you tapped on a little bit, but, will Traveling County be seeking those businesses out? To let them know about the option, or is there something that the city can or should do to get the word out to all of our tourist-related businesses to
Yeah,
contact you?
so
Which-
we do, so Megan is our membership director. So I'll be working kind of with her in some of that outreach. Because ultimately the outreach I'll be doing to try to contact our cycling or road cycling based businesses. We'll kind of do in tandem to recruit the other kind of ancillary tourist based businesses and we'll work together to kind of bring that information to them and have them sign up as members and yeah, Megan and the team's been actively recruiting more and more people from the area, but yeah, we'll absolutely get the information you all need to kind of spread the word. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
What happens to the yearly membership again? For business?
I think the first tier yearly membership is $300 annually. And that provides you, this is a little technical, but it provides you.
It's 300.
Yeah, 300, a couple extra categories that kind of help us integrate you and potentially more web content, so. But if you want.
Well, are there any other questions from the council? Or the audience? And how about the rest of the room? Does anyone else have any more questions? So from what I understand, we're not, we do not need any motions to be made. This was purely for update information.
Yep.
So thank you for coming and doing that for us.
Yes, I may have missed it.
Yeah.
Was distracted. I know you said that you're looking at getting things ready through the fall. Do you have an exact date in mind, that you would like the destination to happen? I mean, I know it's based on or Parks and Rec.
There is a September Parks and Rec Commission meeting. That meeting is where 2 weeks prior. I think it's their deadline for us to corral the scenic byway plan and all the supporting documentation, having everything, all the checkboxes checked off. For them to review on that, I believe September 12th. I think that'll check. But ultimately, if they review, hopefully they say yes, and then immediately like snap the fingers, okay, great, we got it. Or if they need additional time beyond that commission meeting to say yes, that's set behind the scenes, I'm not too privy to. But yeah, the goal is roughly like September.
That's it.
Just want to get it done, get her done, right? If we tried in 2013, 2020, it's like, all right, let's do this thing, so.
So do you happen to know what the reasons were why it didn't pass then?
I know at least, and I'm speculating, in 2020, everyone kind of went into, pandemic kind of emergency mode.
Protection mode.
And then, these type of kind of marketing campaigns, right, were not a priority, like when that came to be.
Right.
2013, I couldn't quite say. It's just sometimes like the projects, the motivation peters out and just, so, yeah, I know it's.
And I don't think in 2013 you guys were as heavily involved as you are now. I think in 2013 it was more couple chamber organizations trying to lead the go on it. but now that you've taken charge of it and done a great job, you'll see it come to fruition, so good job.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That was my main goal. It's like, all right, let's just drive this sucker through. So, yeah, that's it. So,
Well, great work, Nolan.
yeah,
Hey, you're looking forward to the celebration.
it'll be good. It'll be good. I also have to probably plan most of the celebration, so we'll see. I mean, it will be great. It'll be great for everyone who wants to get there, but we got to. We got to. So just want to get the stamp of approval. The word.
Yeah.
The celebration. So
And I apologize, I just called you by your last name instead of your first name.
I get it all the time. I get Colin, I get Cameron. Nolan's also first. My middle name is Patrick, so I'm really not.
Just throw anything out there and you'll answer.
It's sure, yeah. Most of the least. So. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Oklahoma works too.
All right, well, are we ready to move on then to our next item on the agenda? This would be business from the city administrator. Go ahead, James.
All right, just a couple of things. Today, I received a letter of resignation from our court clerk. He would be taking another job and relocating. But not to worry, I already have a plan in place. Again, this is a part-time position, as you recall. And Mike McPherson has volunteered to take over those duties, at least temporarily, potentially permanently. So we won't have any missing court days. Of course, I will compensate her for that, because we can't expect someone to work 40+ hours as she does in the police department, and then also take on another part-time job. But she's confident that she can do the work. So we're gonna see how that goes, but in the end, that will save us some money.
Well, it sounds like that's gonna give us some overtime.
Correct, but we will not be paying a court clerk for a half-time position plus benefits. So
Oh, I see.
you're saving a bunch of money there. The benefits, that they're always expensive, usually doubles. Salary.
Right.
benefits. Yeah, so it's sad to see her leave, she's been a long time, but there's a plan in place to make sure that the work continue. And I will keep council updated on it. Also just want to kind of go over the schedule. I know things have been hectic. We've had a lot of meetings this month. We do not have a meeting on July 4th, so that's good. But then we have a bunch of meetings in the middle of July. So July 11th is the first public hearing on the proposed new changes to the city charter. Then on Monday, July 15th, we have the special work session, hiring practices. And then Thursday, July 18th at 5 p.m. is the second public hearing on the proposed charter. And then, of course, the regular city council meeting at 6 p.m. same day. So send out reminders to council. Put that back, we had no meeting on July 4th, but then we have meetings July 11th, 15th, and 18th.
And did you say that the 18th is the one where it's also a regular city council meeting?
Correct.
Okay.
We'll do the work session public hearing. Number 2 on the charter at 5 p.m. and then just move into the regular session at around 6 p.m. And that's all the updates.
Did we add on one more meeting for this month for the charter review committee?
Charter review committee tomorrow night at tomorrow at 4:30 p.m.
Tomorrow at 4:30. That's Thursday?
Yes.
Okay. So was that everything?
That's all I know.
Thank you. Well, we'll go into public comment And I'll check in with the online visitors first. Does anyone online have public comment? Seeing none, is there any in the room? Public comment? All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I still move.
Meeting adjourned.